Well, hey everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome this day. I know it's a time that we're going to have to get used to. This is usually my Friday time, but hey, this is the summer, so time that we're going to have to get used to. This is usually my Friday time, but hey, this is the summer, so I have to make some changes in order for me to reach the students and the clientels that need my assistance. So what we're working on today is solving equations with the variable on both sides of the equal sign. Now, I know we're really good at one step. We're okay with two steps, but every time there's a variable on both sides, it tends to trip some people up. So this is my new time, Danny, I know. Hey, South Africa, how are you? All right, so yes, Monday through Friday, well, actually Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, I will be here at 1 p.m. And then on Wednesdays, I will be on at 11 a.m. I know I have to kind of go early. But before we get started, I am thinking about doing a mini fundraiser for people that are currently taking classes, getting their GEDs, and it's more so ask me anything. So it could be you just submit 2, maybe 3 questions per person. Give it to me ahead of time so I can have it all ready for us. And I'm thinking about having either like a private thing on TikTok or maybe even on a Zoom call, just to make sure that you guys are okay with the math that you're currently working with. So if you think that's a great idea, go ahead and put it in the chat or message me, and let's see. It keeps disconnecting. All right. Can you guys hear me now, South Africa? Okay, I see a couple people coming in, coming out. So hopefully you guys are here. Unless I said a magical word that I wasn't supposed to. Hello, SOS, how are you? Okay, you can hear. Okay, all right, fabulous. All right, so let's get started. So first thing that we all need to know when you are solving any equation, you have to remember that the goal is to isolate the variable. Now, when you have a variable on both sides of the equal sign, you're going to have to make some kind of adjustments in order for us to achieve the equal sign. You're going to have to make some kind of adjustments in order for us to achieve that goal. It's almost like mission impossible, right? But let's call it mission possible. So we have -3 plus 5x is equal to 4x minus 10. So we have this variable on both sides of the equal sign. So before we can do anything, let's figure out where do you want to put your variable. Now, everyone is trying to say, well, all teachers say you should put your variable on the left-hand side because we basically read from left to right. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter which side you put it on. You're going to get the same answer. And I'll prove that to you in a moment. So let's say if we go the traditional route and we want to subtract the 4x on both sides. And when we do that, 4x minus 4x will give me a 0. But I don't need that 0 as a placeholder because as you can see, I still have this -10 that's over here. So I'm just going to bring down my -10. And then I'm going to combine like terms on this left side. So I have 5x minus 4x, that gives me 1x. Now, when you have a 1x, you can just simply write x because the 1 is understood to be in front of it as a coefficient. Now, this is what a lot of people screw up at. It's like, oh, my teacher says that x is equal to 1. No, it's not. X is equal to many numbers. It could be positive, it could be negative, it could be a fraction, it could be an improper fraction, it could be anything it wants to be. what your teacher is trying to say that the coefficient in front of the x is 1 if you don't see anything in front, all right? Because you see one singular x being represented here. Now we're going to bring down my minus 3. And then from here, I need to isolate this x. So if I tried to isolate this x, that means I need to add or do the inverse of this negative 3. The inverse of a negative 3 is a positive 3. Whatever I do on one side, I do on the other. So negative 3 plus 3, that would give me 0. But again, I don't need that 0 because I still have this x being represented on that side. So now negative 10 plus 3, that will give me a negative 7. So our solution here is x equals negative 7. Hey, Snippety, how are you? Hey, Roxy, how are you? It's good to see you guys. All right. So, as I said, it really doesn't matter which way you put the variable as long as you make that proper decision, okay? So let's say that we have the same equation. So I'm going to write the word or, and I have the same equation. So negative 3 plus 5x is equal to 4x minus 10. And last time we subtracted the 4x because we wanted to move our x's on the left-hand side of the equal sign. But now, let's be daring and let's subtract the 5x. So 5x minus 5x gives me a 0x, but I do not need the 0 as a placeholder because I still have the negative 3. So I'm going to bring down my negative 3 equals, now I have 4 minus 5x. Well, if I have $4 and I want to spend $5, that means I'm short $1. And then bring down the minus 10. So again, we want to isolate our variable. So our variable right now is that negative x. So that means I need to get rid of this 10. And the inverse of minus 10 is plus 10. It's so hot that I'm sticking to the paper. It's hilarious. All right, so negative 10 plus 10, that gives me a 0, which 0 is not needed because I still have this negative 1x. So negative 3 plus 10, that gives me a positive 7. So positive 7 is going to equal negative 1x. But we don't want to know what negative 1x equals. We want to know what x equals. So negative 1 is being multiplied to that x. So we divide both sides by that negative 1. So negative divided by negative gives me a positive. 1 divided by 1 gives me 1. So 1x, or just simply x. And now you have your 7 divided by negative 1, which gives me negative 7. So as you can see, either way, be it your x's on the left-hand side or your x's on the right-hand side, I know if we were doing geometry, they would want your final answer to look just like the solution that you're trying to prove. So I know I would probably have to do an extra step to switch it. Okay, which will be the reflexive. But since we're solving and you just want to know what x is supposed to equal, this is perfectly fine. Okay, especially if you're trying to get your GED, your ASVAB, you don't have any extra time to be fooling around like, oh, which side should it be on? No, your answer is x equals negative 7. Boom, bubble it, click it, move on. All right. All right. Let me see. SOS. Are you all right? I know it's kind of hard for me to do all this. Okay, miss. Can you teach other days math to like cylinders, surface, sphere, and etc.? Oh, yes. I was just about to say something. Okay, I'm 46-year-old, but dang, you're a good teacher. Well, thank you, Almost Baked. Okay. All right. So are you actually SOS? Are you actually currently taking a class? Just out of curiosity. So I'll leave that up there so I can set up my next one. So if you don't know, I'm still raising money. We actually got a $100 donation today. Yay! But we're getting closer to our goal. Only 8 more days, guys. I'm trying to save my home as well as save other people's sanity. Okay? I know math is a struggle for some people, and I get it because I used to be that person. But if you want to donate even $1, I have my CashApp. As you can probably tell if I put my hand over here. I know, I finally figured out the boards, guys. Look at me, I'm getting better. So if you want to do my Cash App or Venmo, we're going to do those two because GoFundMe has, if you want to do GoFundMe, just let me know. And I will give you the link. I only fit so much in that spot, so that's what we're going to do. All right. So if you already did, that would be awesome. But I am thinking about doing like a little mini fundraiser at my like 9:30 slots for people that are doing college. And I'm thinking of it as a one, like literally I thought of it before we got started. So, it's still, I think the Holy Spirit just kind of gave me an idea. And when he or she gives me an idea, when the Spirit gives me an idea, I just do it, right? Don't worry about the how, just do it. Okay, so you never know. You might see me on later on tonight about this. So, anywho, we have this nice long problem. But no matter how much they try to overemphasize, always think of your equal sign as the divider. Okay? Always keep that in mind. So whatever we do on one side of the equal sign, we do on the other if we need to carry things over. That's why I did this problem right here. All right? This is what's happening. We have 6n, we have 8, we have negative 8n, and we have 15. So there's a lot of things happening on just that side of the equal sign. So if I cover up the left side and focus my attention to the right side, now I can see that I got like terms that I can combine. So you don't have to say subtract 6n and then add 8n and then subtract 8 and then you don't have to do all that. Combine everything first and then do your transformation from one side to the next. So if we take a look at it, we have 6n minus 8n. Since they're both on the same side of the equal sign, you're not doing the inverse operation. All you're doing is combining like terms. So 6 minus 8, that gives me a negative 2n. Okay? So since they're both on the same side of the equal sign, all we're doing is combining like terms. So now you're going to combine the 8 and the 15. So with 8 plus 15, that gives me 23. So I have my plus, since it's positive, plus 23. All right? So now I don't have any like terms anymore on this right-hand side. So since I don't have any like terms, that means I can bring down my next part, which is my 4n minus 1. And this, and the equal sign, and this is when you decide what side you want your variables on. So if I want my variables on the left-hand side, all I'm doing is adding 2n to both sides. Negative 2n and positive 2n, they'll give me my 0. Okay. Don't need the 0 as a placeholder because you still have that 23. So 23 comes down, as well as this equal sign. And then on the left side, we got this negative 1. And then 4n plus 2n, that gives me 6n. Okay, good. So now we're going to add 1 on both sides. Thank you, Kaden. Appreciate you. So we're going to add 1 on both sides. So negative 1 plus 1, that gives me my 0. And remember, we don't need the 0 because we still have the 6n. That was on the left-hand side. Yeah. And then our 23 plus 1, that gives us 24. All right. And then after this, then what? What do we do from here? Good. Divide by 6. So divide both sides by our 6. 6 divided by 6, that will give me my n. And we're saying our n equals 4. All right. Is that dare too cute? Good. 4. South Africa, 4. Good job, guys. Okay, Danny, I see you. The dividing is 6, so we got our n is equal to 4. The hardest part that I think people have is just knowing when to combine your like terms or when to push things to the opposite side of the equal sign. So always take a moment, okay? The very first example that we did, we didn't have any like terms. It was just 4x minus 10. For the next one, we had like terms to combine. So once we combined those like terms, then we were able to go into the whole process of shifting from one side to the next. Okay? Make sense? Good. All right, so let's try. Let me see if I can amp it up a little bit. Because, you're probably like, this is baby stuff, Audrey. Let's go. I can feel on the challenge. I was like, all right, let's go. Say less. Everybody's like, none of us said that, Audrey. Like, none of us. Don't get too crazy. All right, so we got 40 minus x is equal to 4 times negative 3. Oh, there's a parenthesis, but don't freak out. Okay, so Caden's saying the first thing we should do is distribute the 4. All right, well, let's do this. Let's make it happen. So if we distribute, we gotta distribute to everything inside of the parenthesis. Do not distribute the 4 to the 6. A lot of my students are starting to do that, and I don't know where that came from. Okay, you always distribute what's inside the said parenthesis. Okay, Okay, so if I can take my card, I'm going to cover it so we can focus up. So now we have 4 times -3. That gives us -12. And 4 times -6, because this minus sign acts as a negative. Okay, it does a dual role. It subtracts and it acts as a negative. Negative usually means subtracting. So 4 times -6x gives me a -24x. And then I just bring down the +6. And then we have this equals. But what else is happening over here? What else is happening? Okay, what else is happening? What can we do next? Because we already distributed the 4. So now we got like terms. Okay, so instead of me adding the 12 to the other side and subtracting the 6 to the other side, we can actually combine those two, because these two are like terms. So I owe somebody $12. I paid them $6. That means I still owe them $6. And then I just bring down the -24x. So now that I don't have any more like terms, I can bring down the remainder. So I got my 40 minus x and my 40 minus x. Okay. So now that that's happening, now I want to choose where I want my x's to be. Okay, not my x, he can just go somewhere, but the x's I want my x's to be. Okay, not my x, he can just go somewhere, but the x's on here, like where do I want my x's to go? So I chose the last 2 times. Where would you like your x to go? Where would you like the x to go? I try to keep it kosher because I know there's some youngsters in here too. Where would you like your x to go? On the left hand or the right hand? So you guys pick. All right, so Kaden says add 24x to both sides. Okay. So since it was a -24x, we can add 24x on both sides because we want to keep the x's on the left-hand side. So -24x and +24x, that gives me my 0. But then we'll have our 40, okay, -x plus 24x. That'll give me a positive 23x equals my -6. All right. Now what? Okay, so subtract 40 on both sides. Awesome. Okay. So 40 minus 40 gives me 0. I still have my 23x over here. Still have my equals. So -6 minus 40 will give me what? So since both of the... Seems like my connection. What's going on? Why did it kick me off? Did it kick me off? Are you guys still here? Okay, that's weird. Okay, Caden says divide both sides by 23. Can you guys still hear me? Because for some reason, when I look on my stuff, I've been kicked off. Yeah, we're here? Okay. All right, that's what's important. That's what's important. I can hear you. All right, awesome. That is so weird. But that's okay. We will figure it out. Okay. Weird. Okay. So, divide both sides by 23. So 23 divided by 23 will give me my x. No, it won't, but we'll talk about that later. But negative 46 divided by a positive 23 is negative, and that will be a negative 2. Okay. All right. How are you feeling? Thank you so much for a follow, guys. I know it's just going to take a minute for everyone to get used to the new times. I know I keep flipping them once in a while, but, you know, I have to do what I have to do, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately. All right. So, couple more. Okay, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Because right now, what I basically do is I take concepts that I'm starting to see problems, or a lot of my students during the school year and also during the summer, I'm noticing or having troubles with. So I kind of bring that on here. And what I do is I just basically take a lot of this. So I kind of bring that on here. And what I do is I just basically take a lot of the stuff and break it down. As you can see, we've been doing this for a while. Right? So I don't know if there's like a delay. I think there's like a delay and I don't know why, which is very, very weird. Okay. But I know they're doing construction outside my home. So hell, at one point they hooked the gas line to my water line. How's that possible? How's that possible? They're trying to kill me. Anyway, it's just insane. I'm like, do you guys know what you're doing, or do you know what you're doing? All right, so let's try this one. Give this one a try. All right, so we have negative 6 plus 3p equals 8p plus 2 times 1 minus 3p. So remember, we're trying to use our equal sign as a dividing line. So we'll know what happens on one side will happen on the other. Caden loves to distribute this too. Yep. So we're going to distribute everything inside this parenthesis by the 2. So that means we have over here our negative 6 plus 3p equals 8p plus 2 times 1 gives us 2. And 2 times negative 3p gives me negative 6p. Okay. So if I look to the left of my equal sign, I don't have any like terms, so we're good with that. But if I look to the right of my equal sign, I do have like terms. We have 8p and negative 6p. So 8p minus 6p, that gives us 2p. And then we're bringing down the plus 2. Okay, good. So we have negative 6 plus 3p equals 2p plus 2. Okay. So after we distribute and we simplified, we want to choose where our p's are going to go. Okay, so we could, again, go against the grain and subtract 3p on both sides. So if I'm bringing my p's to the right, that means I can subtract 2 to bring my constants to the left. So you can do the movement all on one line. So here you have negative 6 minus 2. That gives me a negative 8. And here you have a 2p minus 3p. That gives me a negative 1p. But we don't want to know what negative 1p is. We want to know what p is. So this negative 1, we're actually going to divide on both sides the negative 1 so I can isolate my variable, which is p. So negative 1 divided by negative 8 divided by negative 1. That's 1 negative divided by negative gives me a positive. 8 divided by 1 gives me 8. Okay. All right. So by going through these concepts, yes, there's going to be certain things you got to do first. Okay. Yes, you're going to have to remember PEMDAS. Do what's inside the parenthesis first. But since we didn't have anything inside the parenthesis to combine, and we don't have any exponents, remember, multiplication comes before division, left to right, okay? So that's why we did the distribution first, then for division, left to right, okay? So that's why we did the distribution first, then we didn't have any more addition, multiplication or division, so we add to combine by addition or subtraction, from left to right, okay? That is done. So we add to combine by addition or subtraction, from left to right, okay? That is the key thing. That is the absolute key thing. So combined are like terms, keep it on the same side, then you start moving them from left to across the equal sign or so forth. All right. Okay. All right, so let's try one more. And let's see how you guys, one or maybe two more. I think we got two more in us. I think we can do that. All right, so if we have, I'm gonna raise this up a bit. If my thing gets in the way a little bit. So I would like to do this. So negative 5 times x plus 2 equals negative times negative 5x plus 1 minus x. I'm waiting for Caden to say his famous thing. Waiting for Caden to say it. Do it, Caden. Do it. There we go. There it is. All right, so we're not even distributing in one spot. We're distributing in two spots. So we're going to distribute the negative 5 in the first set of parentheses. But what are we going to distribute in the second parenthesis? Yes, South Africa, we're going to do both. Good. But what are we going to distribute? Yes, the negative. Now, this negative is actually like a negative 1. So all you're basically doing, anytime you have to divide by a negative like this, all you're doing is just changing the signs of the interior of that parenthesis. Okay, all you're doing is negating everything. You're just changing its sign. So if it was negative, now it's going to turn positive. If it was positive, now it's going to turn negative. So if we have negative 5 times x, that gives us negative 5x. Negative 5 times a positive 2, that gives us a negative 10. Then we have our equals, this in blue. And like I said, all we're going to do is negate everything inside the parenthesis. So this is no longer a minus or a negative 5x. It's going to be a positive 5x. And this is not a positive 1. It's going to be a negative 1. And then we bring down the minus x. Okay. Good. It's a negative 5x. So now it's 5x minus 1. Good. Okay, so because a negative times a negative gives us our positive. And a negative times a positive kept it negative. Okay, so now, closing this off, let's look. We got like terms. Right here with the 5x and the minus 1x. Okay. 5x minus 1x. Good. That gives us our 4x. And then we bring down the minus 1. We're going to keep the equal sign. Because since we don't have any like terms to combine, we're going to bring down the left-hand side, which gives me negative 5x. Minus 10. So we need for our x's to be on one side. Doesn't matter. So if you want, we could subtract 4x on both sides. 4x minus 4x, they cancel out. But it leaves me with this negative 1. So we bring down the negative 10 on the left-hand side. And then we have negative 5 minus 4. That gives me a negative 9x. Good. So, what do we need to do next? Add 10 on both sides. Good. Since it was a minus 10, we're going to add 10 on both sides. Always do the inverse when you're going from one side to the other. So negative 10 plus 10 will give me 0. I can bring down the negative 9x. Then we have our equals. Negative 1 plus 10. Okay. I owe someone $1. For some reason, I paid them $10. You overpaid them by $9. Okay. Or if your credit card bill was -$1 and you added $10 to that bill, now you have $9 to play around with. You can think of it that way. And then lastly, -9x. So that's multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we have our x is equal to -1. Okay, questions. I always like to ask this. Does anyone have a question and just don't know how to formulate it? Don't know how to ask it? Because that happens too. We're like, how'd you get the 4? Where did the 9 come from? Any of those things. If you're good, just give me a thumbs up so I'll know, because I can't see your faces. All right. Well, go ahead and see if we can tap up. I know there's 7 people in here, but it's 7 mighty people. Thank you, Caden. Or 6 mighty people. I think I chased somebody off. Thank you, Dan. All right. See if we can, like do a mad tap real quick. If we can get to 3, that will be awesome. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to set up the next problem, as well as, hey, if you guys know of anyone that's thinking about getting the ASVAB, or maybe the GED, or maybe they're in college right now and they're trying to do intermediate algebra or any college algebra, and they're just really like, things are starting to get a little tough, just send them my info. I would greatly appreciate it. You can share the lives with them. You can also just take a copy of my profile and just send them the link. I'm perfectly fine. Okay, so you're trying to take the GED? Okay, when are you planning on taking it? Is it Rahimas? Or Rahemas? Okay, you need to start with classes first. Okay. Well, if you stick around, it's like I just got here. Okay, not a problem. Because I'm also doing, we're about to get into the algebra components this week. But I will be starting up another course in September, because this one will be over in August. I can't believe time is just flying. But I basically teach a lot of the algebra components that is needed in the GED and the ASVAB, and also the TEAS test. Is mostly the algebra components. So if you're ever interested, just let me know. Because I'm going to be closing up today for the for this round. But I know people just probably are waiting to see how other people do before they want to make a purchase. And I get it. Times are tough. You probably already had your summer plans already situated. And I get it. Okay, you're interested? Okay, awesome. So if anything, later on when we're done with this today, just go ahead and DM me, and I'll see if we can get everything situated. Get you started. All right, so now I'm going to raise this just above, I think, my thing. All right. Aha. Now, Kaden, before we go into it, for this side, what am I distributing on the left-hand side, Kaden? We are going to distribute. I'm not taking your thunder away. But what are we distributing? Yes, okay? This minus sign acts as a negative. It plays almost like a dual role. Okay, it does subtraction, but it also acts as a negative. So you're basically taking this -2 and you're distributing to everything inside of its parenthesis. Okay, so that means we have our 3n, and when we distribute, a negative times a negative gives me a positive, and 2 times 2 gives me 4. Then we have a -2 and a -7n. Again, a negative times a negative gives me positive. And it's 2 times 7 gives me 14, but I attach the n. With multiplication, you can combine. Okay? Addition, you wouldn't be able to do those two. They will not be like terms. But on the other side of the equal sign, we can also distribute. So we're going to distribute this 4 to everything inside of the parenthesis. So 4 times 1, that gives me 4 inside of the parenthesis. So 4 times 1, that gives me 4. And 4 times -8n, a positive times a negative gives me a negative when they're opposite signs. And 4 times 8 gives me 32. And it'll be 32n. So this time, most of the action is not happening on the right-hand side. Most of the action is happening on the left-hand side. So let's zoom in a little bit. So we have 3n plus 4 plus 14n. So right here, we have our like terms, the 3n and the 14n. So 3n plus 14n, that gives me 17n. And then I just bring down my plus 4. So now I don't have like terms there. But I'm going to bring down the equal sign, as well as the 4 minus 32n. All right. So I'm going to bring all my n's to the left-hand side because I know my n's will turn out to be positive. How do I know that? Because originally I have a minus 32n. So I have to do the inverse, which is adding 32n. So if I add this 32n on both sides, I'm going to get a positive answer. So if I'm adding to bring the n's over here, that means I need to take this 4 and bring it over here. So since it's a plus 4, I'm going to subtract 4. So that gives me a 0. But then over here, this gives me a 0. You could, if you go to my profile, you should be able to do a direct message to me. Okay. Now, I know these 4's will cancel out, but when it comes to equations, we always have to solve. Okay, we always have to have something on both sides of the equal sign. So over here, it looks like 49n. And then over here, it's going to be 0. If we even divide both sides by 49, zero divided by 49 is going to give me 0. Divide by 49, it's going to give me 0. And it looks like it's saying no. Okay. Okay. So this will give me a solution, Kaden. Even though n is 0, it is giving me a solution of 0. It will be no solution if I said, I don't know, if it said 40, like if the n's canceled out for some weird reason. If it said 49 equals 0, well, 49 can't equal 0. So something like that, that will be a no solution. Okay. Hey, C4, how are you? I know, welcome to my new time, just for the summer months. Okay. Good. Hello, Mickey. All right. So, I mean, this is basically what's happening. My only suggestion when you see a variable on both sides, literally either take your hand or maybe take a piece of scrap paper or something just to kind of help you focus on one side of the equation at a time. Because when you guys look at it as a big mass, sometimes it just gets a little like, I don't know. This is crazy. Where do I start? How do I do this? And then all of a sudden the anxiety takes in, the insecurities are kicking in, and then you want to shut down. Because this is what we naturally do. We're human beings. We got that fight or flight type of thing. And majority of the time, sometimes we want to just flight. Okay? But if you learn to just let me take things piece by piece, then you'll be able to, as I like to say, chop the giant down to something that is more manageable for you to work with. All right? Okay. So since you guys are here, and I know, I am really curious to know, does it sound like a good idea to do almost like an ask me anything or ask Audrey type of thing? And people will come in, they'll just send me their questions ahead of time, like 2 or 3 questions, to do that set it ahead of time. And then I just make it almost not really like a subscription, but if anything, it might be something small, to really hone in on what people are going to do. Does that sound like a good idea? And seriously, yes or no? Put it in the chat, because right now I'm pulling on straws and I'm starting to pull my hair out. I'm just trying. I'm trying so hard to use my abilities to help people, but sometimes I don't know. Does it sound like a good idea? Yes? No? Maybe so? Shrug? You don't care? It's like, it doesn't matter, Audrey. It really doesn't. Hello? Because I know we're all just trying to figure our lives out. Because if you guys are sending me stuff, I can't see it. I don't see it. Okay. All right. Well, maybe I should do it anyway. I don't know. I just don't want to lose my house, and I don't want to stop doing TikToks because I have to go and do other things, because I actually enjoy coming on here and giving you guys insight and help breaking, because I don't know, just looked at my statistics yesterday. I helped 8 people with their college algebra courses. I helped 3 people to get their GED, and then I helped 3 people to pass their ASVAB. So I'm like, sounds like good numbers. But anywho, so if anything, I am basically going to wrap up. If you do like how my book is structured, because you can have a copy of my notes, and those notes are called Audrey's notes. So with Audrey's notes, you get copies of all my lives. Right now, we're working on book number 4, which will be done probably, I want to say, mid-July. But I have all my notes that I have done since I started in February. And what happens is at the end or somewhere on the page, like say for this one, Simplifying Radicals, I have a QR code. If you scan that QR code, it will take you directly to the live that I was doing these assignments or these notes on. So you'll actually get the notes and you can walk yourself through step by step. And if you need any assistance, you can go through that. All right. So if not this, my math notebooks is not just for notes. Okay. It also has like all of the resources, like if you're not very good with your multiplication tables, and some people don't know how to read a multiplication chart. So what I have here is called a factor sheet. So it gives me all the factors from 1 to 200. So this will help you with factoring. It will help you with breaking down radicals, and also like for you to understand what will be like your greatest common factor and what will be your LCM or LCDs when it comes down to it. So when you got all this, then you have the rules of integers, looking at all the rules. Then you have your words. Then you have your order of operations, your properties of exponents, properties of quadrilaterals, the transformation rules, a little bit of geometry, as well as your area and perimeter. Then you have your volume, your surface area, your unit circle, especially if you're going to go into pre-calculus, or even you might be an advanced Algebra 2 student. You guys will definitely be using the unit circle. And the same thing with Pythagorean theorem and the SOHCAHTOA and the other trig identities. Right? So all of that is inside of my math notebook. All right. So I do have courses. I do have my replays. So my replays of this live and most lives are going to be here. For some reason, I can't say the word because they always give me a violation because I'm leading people to, I don't know. So this is the title of my channel. So you can go there. Then also, I do private tutoring. So if there's, then also, I do private tutoring. So if there's something in particular that you want, but like I said, I'm trying to do a fundraiser. I got 8 more days to raise up like over $500, which I think is possible. If everyone gives me $1, I would definitely heal that. I would get that in a heartbeat. Okay. So if we got our math notebooks, also the courses, we can actually do a course that is self-paced and you just come and do like weekly check-ins with me to see how things are going with you. That you can go here to get that information. Usually I have it as one of my links, but you know, situations call, I have to do that. Now, if you are about to, because my friend is actually about to start in a couple minutes, Impact Math 19. She's like Miss Taylor. She does like the TEAS test, the ASVAB, and the GED. Make sure you follow her. She's actually going to get started in 2 minutes. If you're thinking about doing nursing, make sure you follow a Blessed RN. She knows how to do her diagnosis calculations really well. Chemistry tutor, Professor TK, if you need someone for chem. If you're thinking about going to Algebra 2 next year and chemistry combo, you definitely want to put her on your speed dial. Then also Abacus for Math, Learning with Lynette. She will teach you how to add, subtract, multiply, divide. It doesn't matter if it's 5s, if it's 10s, if 1 digit, 2 digit, 3 digits. She will teach you how to do all that using the abacus. And you can use the abacus for the SAT. As well as if you have anyone that's in pre-kindergarten or kindergarten and is thinking about doing homeschooling, make sure you follow my friend Nancy, who is the online elementary tutor. She's amazing with that, trying to break down all those concepts. And last but not least, my friend Robert. Every time I say I got a guy that knows the calculus in and out, it doesn't matter if it's Calc AB or BC. Sorry, all of a sudden my phone just went kind of cuckoo. All right. So even AP statistics or even general statistics, especially statistics for nursing, just let me know. Or actually follow Robert, the AP math guy, and he'll let you know. I'm sorry, guys. All of a sudden, my phone is going black. Hopefully, you guys are there. Okay. All right. Okay. So, with that, go ahead and follow these guys. Again, if you need any of my services, please do so. If you want to donate, please do so. I'm serious when I say I only got 8 days. like 8 days. The structure is kind of real. But let me see the QR code. Sure. Okay, so it's going to take you directly to, this is just another thing. It's just going to take you directly to one of the videos on my YouTube channel. Because this is book 3. Okay? Because this is book 3. Okay? So, yep. And I'll take you straight there. And then you can just watch whatever it is and you can research whatever you need to. Okay, and this one here doesn't have the resources in the back, but it does have some of the all the lessons that we worked on. Alrighty. Okay, guys. Well, if you want to go see my friend Miss Taylor, that will be awesome. So you can keep the party going. She's amazing, and I will maybe see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for stopping in. When does your next session start for the GED? It's going to be sometime in September, early September. Yeah, because this round is going to end in August. Okay, all right. Yep. Yeah, because I don't want to take any new people because we're about to get into the algebra. If you're going to miss today, you're going to get into the algebra now. I want you to just feel like you're going to be like constantly catching up because that's not a good feeling at all. All right. All right, guys. And if you have any questions whatsoever, you can just find my name and just send me a message and I will get back to you. I know when some people put in requests, now I know to look into the request sections. So if you just fill it in, I will definitely check the request section today and see what we can do from there on. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys, and have an amazing day. I hope you guys are staying healthy. Hopefully, if you're on the East Coast, you're just trying to stay cool as best you can. And the West Coast, you guys stole our cold air. All right. Have an amazing day. Take care.